Hi guys, I've come back to do part 2. I've got a little time here, so I'll go ahead and do a little bit of the background here. And I will be doing it in Distress Inks. So I'm going to do the moon here first. If I can get this stuff out of my way here, it keeps rolling back. I'm going to do it in a squeezed lemonade here, and I'm going to be using the mini tool here as soon as I find my little yellow ink pad blending thing. So we just attach that on there, and I have to put back in my spacer so nothing can possibly bleed through, and then I can also double check to make sure that the ink is on the pad correctly. That's how I always do. And I'm going to be using the Distress ink and just kind of, well, let's see if I get you down a little closer. You can see exactly what I'm going to do. Just going to cover this, and then I'm just going to put it where the darkest goes first, right on that line, kind of right there. Then I'm going to push it down and pull it in. So on the line and pull it down. The grayscale has all its shading in there, so we're just applying a color on top of it. I don't want to get into her hair, so again, I'm just going to be putting it right on that line of her hairline and pulling it out from there and giving the moon kind of a glowing look. Now, with the grayscale, if you want, and again, I'm just using the corner of that, want a darker color in here, you would just push it down. I wouldn't recommend that on a regular coloring book because, I'll show you on this sheet, if you just push it down and try to pull it, you're going to end up with a big circle. But because of the gray scaling and all the shading in here, you're never going to see it, which is kind of cool. And another thing, the moon can reflect out here, so you can bring some of that yellow out if you wanted to, and into the wing if you so wanted to have some reflection in there. So we have our glowing moon. It glows nicely with the lighter color, or the lighter shading it had in here. We're going to add some orange color around here to give it more of a deeper glow, and I'm going to be using the spiced marmalade for that, and one of my little tools, this little guy here, and this is the one I use for the marmalade. And I'm just going to go kind of around the moon and down into this little hole down here, kind of giving it a glowing effect on the clouds out here. And just running it around. And I'll put a little of the orange in the moon too, giving it shading colored, I guess. What do you call that? There's a name for it. Giving it darker to lighter variance in the coloring. Just a little glow out here. And up in here too. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And now for the rest of the clouds, she kind of looks like she's out at night, being a dark background and all. So we're going to put some blues on the side. I might even throw in some pink, I'm not sure. But I need to get a blue pad on here. And I want to go darker than her skirt. I used the peacock feathers for her skirt and her top, and I want to, I'm sorry if I didn't get that in the camera, peacock feathers. I want to go a little darker than that because it looks at night. I just just have to find a blue that'll work well and still show up. So I have Stormy Skies. That's what this is called. And we'll put some ink on and see. So that's a nice dark color. And we'll just kind of pounce it in here. I want it to be colored, but I also want it to be dark, you know, in the skies, kind of stormy. So the blue ink is just going to go kind of in the light areas. It's not really going to show much on the gray. So we just go around and give it some color. And I forgot that I was down low, so I'm so sorry. Get up a little higher. And then just dab in the blue. Trying not to get into the wings. And then on this side over here, we will dab in some. And give it a nice bit of blue in there. And darken it up a little bit because I want to see the blue. And I got it in the wing, but that's okay. I'll add a little more in there. Okay, I want to get a different color to brighten that up a little bit. And I have it out here somewhere. Okay, we're going to put a little yellow in here. That'll change the blues to a green. But that's okay. Just adds a different look in here. We're just dabbing it in here and there and kind of giving that gray a different look too. It's the fun thing about the grayscale books and these distress inks. Now I was asked another question about the difference between the distress inks and the oxides. And what I did was, in one of my videos, I just left a link, and I'll leave it in here too, to Tim Holtz. He does a demonstration on both of them and how to use them. The biggest thing I can tell you about the difference on using the distress inks and the oxide inks is distress ink is transparent. So you can see the gray scaling back behind this, and it sinks into the paper. It's a wet base dye ink, water-based dye ink. So you can get this wet, use it as watercolor and all that. The oxide inks are a hybrid ink, and the most significant difference between the two is distress inks are transparent, oxides are opaque. So they will cover, and you won't get the grayscale underneath here. It'll cover that up. So opaque means that you cannot see through it. You can use those and they look absolutely gorgeous on regular color books, but on these particular ones they won't work as nicely because you want that gray scaling coming through to give you the shades. The oxide also, when you get it wet, like when I do the backgrounds and I splatter water on it and it lifts some of the ink off of the back of the page and you get that little splattered effect, it will do something similar, but instead of giving you the paper below as the splatter effect, the oxides actually have a reaction to the water that gives it a white film. In mixed media, it's gorgeous. And the inks are really fun to use, but in what I do in the coloring books, it's not a practical application. Okay, we're going to go ahead and work on her wings. And since we have a lot of blues and yellows going on down here, I want her wings to stand out. So I'm going to give them something in the pink family. So I can either go, and I probably will, start off with a ink in there. So we find my little distress ink in the picked raspberry, and my little stick, because we have some tight spots in there. Okay, so we're just going to start up here at the top and go in where it's black, like I did before, and we're just going to bring some of the pink down. We're going to leave it kind of transparent because they're not feathers, they're little fairy wings. So get up here and pull the ink down. And where it's darkest, you just want to go over it with the pink ink. And then down here at her arm and bring it back up. And then we're just going to do that on all the parts of her wings. There we go. Hope everybody's doing well. We've had some interesting weather here, and we'll have a couple of days of really, really hot sunshine, beautiful day, and then it'll come up as a nice, wonderful, looks like it's going to rain, but it won't. So the sun goes behind the cloud and hides, and the weatherman threatens rain, and we just sit here with clouds. I mean, gee, come on, if it's going to rain, it should rain. Okay, I got to be careful here with her hair, because you notice her hair is white, so you can do this any color, but I do have some wings in here that I want to make sure get the same color pink. So we'll just touch it in there. Now, because of the darkness of the book, the prism pencils I'm going to use to match these won't be quite the same as the ones that I would use on white paper. Because I want it to stand out, I'm going to have to use the either the neon pink or a light pink. And I will just be touching the corners because, again, being grayscale, and I'm using Prismacolor pencils, which are wax base. And if I get up here in the dark, dark, dark color, it'll show more as a opaque, waxy covering than actual color. So I find the Scholar Prisma pencils to actually work better on this book. And a little down here by her face. And there we have the start of her wings. I'm really going to have to get in there and try to get some of that on the wings that are down there. And this is what I mean by doing the distress inks on this is such an easy background, which looks really cool. So if I take away my paper here and lift the camera up, you'll see the effect of just that little bit of ink that I put down, which is really nice. And then we will use the pencils to highlight it. And we can go in with like the mulberry will look really nice on the tip of the wings, and then you just kind of highlight the darker colors. Okay, I'm gonna lower you down a little bit so you can see. Sorry. What I mean by it actually covering up the black. So what I'm going to do is very sharp point on this pen, and I'm going to press pretty hard, and I'm going to cover up the black part of that. So I don't know if you can see that if I tilt it. So the grayscaling is now gone on that, but you have to press pretty hard. And I'm going to color in that area. And because there's ink down underneath there, you don't have to work so hard to get the pencil to work and not give you that little white speckled part. So I'm going to do that again down here. It's all black. So the only way I can do it is to lift it up and show you. And then I'm going to press nice and hard and turn it into the mulberry, and then blend it out. Really helps to keep the pencil nice and sharp doing this. And then you can see how it changed it from the black to the purple. And I'll just be doing that on all of these. And it kind of changes the look of the wing. And I'm not going to go all the way down with the color. I'm going to leave as much of that transparent as I can. And when I'm finished inking it, I'm going to go ahead and go back with the same ink here and ink into the wing so it'll give it a transparent look. So I'll finish this section and I'll show you. This is her other arm right here. Show you what I mean by that. So then we have a little piece of wing here and there. And then I'll get in here with this color too. It's very similar to the pink ink I used. Okay, and now I'll show you what I mean by bringing in the inks. So we have kind of that yellow color, which I have a little yellow left on here, and I'm just gonna pounce it in there a little bit. And then we have a little bit of the blue in there, and I have a little blue left on this. And we'll add that in there, giving it kind of that green look. And that kind of gives you the look of the cloud coming into the wing, which is kind of neat. And then I'll darken this up here. So it looks like it's behind the wing. And then we've got the forehead up here. So that's kind of how the rest of the wings are going to go. I'm going to go and do the dark purpling on the outside and then bring it lightly in. So I'll go ahead and do the rest of the wings like that, and then I'll be back. Okay, I wanted to show you something here. If you notice on the colored pencils how it has the little white showing through like this. It's not a clean look. Now, what I mentioned is you can dip the pencil in a little petroleum jelly and get a little of that on the pencil top like that. I wipe it on my thumb and then just dab it in. And then when you're coloring, the petroleum jelly kind of smooths it out a little bit. So I'll take it down here, and you can see that a little. And that just kind of makes it a little creamier when you're putting it down. And you can just keep dipping it in as much as you need it. So I just thought I'd show you that part. And then you can see the difference between, say, these two here and these two up here. It brightens the color up a little too. So that's how that will look. Then I will do the other side over here, and then I will come back. Okay, so here are the wings, and if you see the reflection of the wax on there, they're all done on the areas that they need to be done. And I'm just going to take in the ink like I did before, and the blue, but I needed a little extra blue on here, so I just thought I'd bring it in here and there. To give it the illusion of the clouds in the background here. And then we will use the yellow in there also. To blend it in. And that kind of gives her wings a transparency look. And if it doesn't look transparent to you, at least it looks pretty, right? Okay, now I'm going to do her hair, and I know I've got a little yellow in her hair. And I'm going to pretend those are going to be the highlights of the moon that are shining in on it. I'm really not sure what color to do her hair. And then maybe I will add a little bit of the yellow down here in her skirt to a little bit, highlight some areas. Like that, and maybe a little on her top there. Just a little interest in there. All right, now her hair is all going to have to be done probably in pencil, or I could ink it. I've got problems. I've only got a couple of shades of brown and a couple of shades of yellow. I could do her hair in pink, and it might blend a little too much with her wings, but I could give her rainbow hair. Haha. So we'll go ahead and just accent the parts here in yellow in that area, and maybe a little up here. And then I will get some pink, and we are just going to have some fun with her hair. We'll get some well, there's already some pink here, so we're going to give her some pink down in this area. Some pink back here. Around her ear. And a little up here. A little around the piece that comes there. Yeah. Then we'll go back in with some pencils. Not the same pink that I did down here, so I have to find my neon pink, which is going to be a little hard for me to find. Okay, here we go. And we could add some brightness in here. And up on the top up here. Right behind her ear. I'll also be adding some white Posca in here also. So I mean, I'll just add a few pieces of the white going through. Feathering out the hair a little bit more. Dark, light, kind of a dark and a light. There we go. Something like that. It's kind of feathering out the color. I'm going to get a little more yellow in there, and then now I have a yellow in the neon around here somewhere. What is this now? Yellow chartreuse would look kind of pretty in there. kind of a green. That's what's fun about coloring fairies. They don't have to have regular colored hair. Maybe some brighter yellow in here. And that's about all the coloring I'm going to have time for. And like I said, what I will go ahead and do is throw in some of the white Posca pen and add some more highlights in her hair. I like that yellow in there, it's pretty. I like how those colors blend. Anyway, so I'll show you what I mean by adding some color into that. We'll be adding just a few like extra strands. It's like they have a little strand coming out here, so I'll just like pick that up and bring it down. And then maybe this one will have a little hair coming off of it. And she's got all this hair kind of flowing out over here too, so we'll just kind of highlight those, give it a little wiggles. And anywhere you think that they need to have just a little more white, it's a great thing to play around with. So basically that's all I'll be doing, is adding the white in here and there and giving her extra pieces of hair falling around her face and maybe in the back. And then I will like highlight the wings up here too with this, where it comes up to be white, and then bring it out over the edges here. And something in that line, maybe even adding it on the wings here just to add some color to them. So I'll try to figure out if I can do that without getting my head in the camera. So just like add some dots in here till I can get to a line. And do something in that line on the edges of all of these. So what I'll go ahead and do is do something similar to that on all of these. Add the little strands of hair on her and show you the picture when it's all finished at the end of the video. Thanks guys for sticking through on part 2. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.